The Democrats are in a bit of a pickle, aren't they? Not only did Donald Trump win the popular vote, not only did Donald Trump sweep the 7 so-called swing states, but his agenda is broadly popular. That famous Harvard-Harris poll, they asked people about 11 of Trump's policies. The only one that was underwater, guess what it was? Trump's wanting to rename the Gulf of Mexico Gulf of America. That's the only one that did not get majority support. Everything else did. 76% agree with Donald Trump's effort to eliminate government fraud and waste. 76% support his goal of closing the border, which has been closed. 70% say hiring should be based on merit. We'll talk more about that next hour. 61% say tariffs should be reciprocal, meaning if you have tariffs, we're going to have tariffs. If you don't, we won't. 60% have a positive opinion of DOGE. Nearly 80% agree with Trump's executive order banning biological men from competing against women. Even majority of Democrats back the president on this issue. 67% of Democrats say transgender athletes should not compete against women. So if you're a Democrat and you want to regain control of the House, what's your argument? And by the way, have you noticed it took him 1 month to secure the border? We had a peak of border crossings of 10,000 a day under Biden. Now we're down to less than 300. We're talking about a reduction of 95, 96% in 1 month. Have you heard any Democrat, whether it's Dick Durbin, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries, whether it's Jasmine Crockett, whether it's AOC, saying the borders were fine before Donald Trump entered office? Not a single one has said that, meaning they were aware that the borders were open. They were aware that this was problematic. They were aware that this is something the American people wanted addressed. Trump addressed it. Has he been praised? Has any Democrat said, I don't agree with Donald Trump on Ukraine. I'm not happy with the way Donald Trump ended his meeting with Zelensky and Vance in the Oval Office. I'm not happy on extending tax cuts, quote, for the rich, close quote. But the man has secured the border, which means the flow of fentanyl will be reduced, which means the cost of taxpayers supporting illegal aliens, a substantial percentage of which get public benefits, the cost is going to go down. Has a single one said that? No. Tom Homan has vowed to get rid of illegal alien violent criminals first, and he's been doing that. Has anyone said, I don't like what Donald Trump is doing on taxes, on spending, on downsizing the size of government. I don't like DOGE, but my goodness, getting rid of criminal, violent, illegal aliens, he's done that. He's doing it. And I got to say, has anybody said that? Here's what Tom Homan said about sexual predators that he's rounded up and deported. Number 23.
What is real and true about what's happening with illegals in Boston, Tom?
Well, look, she's looking forward to coming to D.C. I'm looking forward to going to Boston, which is going to be real soon, because we're going to go there. We're going to make that city much safer. When I was at the CPAC the other day, what I said was a fact. I stopped counting at 9. 9 sexual predators, rapists, most of them children, that are walking the streets of Massachusetts because they don't work with ICE and they don't honor entertainers. 9. And that's just in recent history. So, and how many times did these child rapists reoffend from the time they released them into jail and by the time we found them in the streets and the neighborhoods? We're going to go to Boston. We're going to make it safer. President Trump made a promise to the American people. We're going to make the community safer. We're going to decrease illegal alien crime to 0. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Boston can help her get that all the way because we're coming. She's not going to stop us. We're going to make Boston safer. Again, I can't overemphasize, 9 child rapists that we took off the street. We made Massachusetts safer, not her.
Democrat strategist James Carville is giving advice to his fellow Democrats. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Let the ball come to you. Sooner or later, his numbers are going to crash. His agenda is very unpopular with the American people. His numbers are going to go. They're going to go down. Here's the problem. This is the data guy over at CNN. We played this yesterday. Let's play it again, number 2.
Well, I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So, look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And so on this simple question, I think Americans are saying, okay, Donald Trump's doing all right on this.
What about specifically on how they feel about bringing the war to an end?
Yeah, okay. So, look, questions on this can be quite complicated, but I think this kind of gets at sort of where the American trend line is. Americans on the Russia-Ukraine war want a quicker end of the war, but Russia keeps its captured land. Look at this, 50%. Bare majority coming in here. Support Ukraine's right to fight, even if it means a longer war. That's at 48. This is very, very close. But the trend line on this question is so important because that want a quick end of the war, look at this. You go back to August of 2022, it was at 31%. Now we're at 50%. I mean, that is a rocket ship upwards in terms of the Americans who want a quick end to the war, even if it means Russia keeps the captured Ukraine land. Americans are moving closer and closer to wanting a compromise, even if it means that Ukraine doesn't really get what it set out to want, at least at the beginning of this war.
And Americans' views on Russia are shifting as well.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons why we're seeing this is Americans who say Russia is an enemy. You go back to 2023, it was 64%. In that CBS News YouGov poll, it was down to 34%. Now, there is a chunk that believes that Russia is an unfriendly nation, but the percentage who believe that they're either an ally or friendly, that's up to 34% as well, basically equal to the percentage who say that they're an enemy. So views on Russia have become, let's say, a little less isolated in terms of wanting Russia to be way out there on their own, thinking that they're an enemy. At this particular point, they're starting to see Russia a little bit more friendly, and I think that's part of the reason why Americans want to see a compromise at this particular hour.
We're going to talk more about Ukraine coming up because there have been some developments on that front. But this is just deranged. This is the governor of Illinois. Guess who he blames for grocery prices going up? Number 33.
You got to remember that the things that I'm speaking out about now, about, the threat to our democracy, this is not a message to win elections on. It's something people need to know. They need to know that that's happening. But, if you talk to 100 people, knock on 100 doors, and I've knocked on an awful lot of doors running for office, and you say to people, democracy is at risk, nobody knows what that looks like. They've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
And the reality is what people need to hear about is what the effects of that are. The prices at the grocery store are going up because democracy is being taken away.
The price of groceries are going up because democracy is being taken away? What does that even mean? The prices are going up in grocery stores because democracy is being taken away? The man wants to drill, baby, drill. He wants to extend the tax cuts? Honestly. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment. More thought-provoking discussions are just a click away, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in the next one.